Happy Halloween, guys, and welcome to another video. We're back here at Lion's Arch, and we're going to start working on the actual more interesting lore stuff to do with the Halloween event. We're going to be completing a quest chain that was added to the Halloween event in 2009, okay? And this one is to do with the Underworld. It's to do with Doom being added to the Underworld and so forth. So I may as well just preface this or just briefly explain what exactly happened. So in the game, at launch in the game, players could go to an elite zone called the Underworld, which didn't really have that much significance, but there was kind of a vague story that was written in the Underworld about how it had fallen into chaos because the lord of that realm, the god Grenth, was in a battle with the previous god that was in that area called Doom, but we didn't really know much aside from that. And what happened over time, basically, was players got really good and really efficient at completing the Underworld, this elite area. They were completing it ridiculously fast, like in less than 20 minutes, through this thing that was called speed clearing. But basically, there was such a high sort of learning curve for speed clearing. A lot of new players couldn't get into it. So ArenaNet basically said in 2009, essentially they said that they didn't really like how fast people could complete the Underworld, and they didn't really like how speed clearing was kind of shunning a lot of the new players because they couldn't learn how to do it. So during Halloween in 2009, they did loads of big updates to the Underworld. This character Doom, they decided they were going to add Doom to the Underworld. You were going to have to finish the Underworld by fighting this guy Doom, this massive super boss, basically. And the idea here was that it would dissuade people from A, speed clearing because it would be much slower, and B, they could add some quests that sort of taught new players how to move around the Underworld and work their way through it. So that's what this quest chain is. It was added in 2009, and basically it explains the coming of Doom to the Underworld, and they're really cool quests because they teach you kind of how to move around. And you know, I used to get so lost in the Underworld when I was first going there, and these quests are really helpful for that. Turns out that it didn't really dissuade people from speed clearing at all, and there's still a really steep learning curve, but it's cool that they added the boss anyway, and all the content's really good. It gets slightly more complicated than that, though, because basically the quest chain in 2009 was added, and basically the whole quest chain was, oh my god, there's this big guy, Doom, he's waking up, he's coming out of hiding, we're all going to have to fight him. And that's what the 2009 quest chain was like. But then in 2010, they added the quest chain again, so that people could continue playing it, which is perfectly reasonable. But because it had already happened the year before, they kind of rewrote all of the dialogue. So what you're going to see here is everybody's going to be sort of saying, oh, isn't this the same thing that happened as last year? So it's a little bit confusing in that regard, but that's essentially what's happened. So just imagine that this is the second time Doom is waking up, because the idea is obviously he's a super boss that players kill over and over and over, but he keeps coming back. So that's the story there, basically. It will make more sense when we begin it. So yeah, so let's just do it. So we're going to speak to this guy, the Mad King Steward, who's actually in a candy cane form here. This is a tonic you can get at Halloween, and we'll be drinking one of these tonics ourselves. So this is the Mad King Steward, and he has a lot of text for us. Yeah, there's a lot of lore. It's really good. When I did my Underworld series, if you guys have seen it or if you haven't, I really wanted to do these quests first because these would explain where Doom came from far better than the Underworld itself does. But you can only do it at this time of year, so I kind of had to work with a lot of kind of crap to be able to get it all out and make it have it make sense. But here we go. So think of this as kind of like a prequel to the Underworld series. All right, let's do it. So I am the steward of Mad King Thorn, and I do his bidding. My undead liege has sensed foreboding tremors in the Underworld. Right, and yeah, Mad King Thorn, he's a huge part of Halloween, but he's not so important in this quest chain, but it is basically we're working for Mad King Thorn to find out about Doom here. Okay, so that's how he gets tied into it. Don't get too confused about that. Right, my undead liege has sensed foreboding tremors in the Underworld. He has also sensed seasonal baking in Royal Chef Colwich's kitchens, but I've already volunteered to investigate that. Also, bear in mind that at Halloween, everything's funny. It's a brilliant event. So while all these quests are going to be talking about some super serious bringer of all and the sort of end of all life as we know it, they are Halloween quest chains. So they're just full of jokes. It's hilarious. All right. My lord's senses are selective but keen. This new intuition also requires attention. That's where a brave and skillful adventurer like you comes in. I would like you to act as an emissary of Mad King Thorn and go talk to his royal ally, King Frozenwind, who guards the Hall of Judgment. If you remember the Underworld series, we actually met King Frozenwind in one of the quests there. King Frozenwind may be able to shed some light on this mystery. We certainly hope that it's nothing so troublesome as that Doom business from last year. Okay, you see, so it's a little bit confusing in that regard. Anyway, travel quickly to the Underworld by speaking with the voice of Grenth. Make sure you use a transmogrifier tonic so that the voice recognizes you as an agent of Mad King Thorn. As this is a diplomatic mission, you must go alone. After you've talked to King Frozenwind, report your findings back to me. I'll see that you are well rewarded for your efforts. As always, I am ready. Sorry, I don't do deja vu. No, alright, I'm ready. So yeah, these are solo quests, at least the first two are anyway, which is quite cool because obviously a big barrier for new players getting into the Underworld is that if they're new, they're probably going to be upsetting 7 players who are experienced, and you know, getting a whole team of 8 people is always a massive pain. So ArenaNet were really clever. They did a hell of a lot of things with this quest chain to encourage people to check out the Underworld and see what they could do. So we're going to go speak to the voice of Grenth, who actually is a part of the quest here, as you can see. But if we just say something wicked comes this way, he says, I was told an agent of Mad King Thorn was coming. You don't look much like one. So to get in, we actually have to drink from one of these tonics, which I don't have on me at the moment. Hold on, let me go to my storage for a sec. Oh, my screen is so laggy. Okay, so as you can see, now we've got these tonics. You get these from the trick-or-treat bags, by the way. So they're very easy to come by at Halloween. We'll double-click it. We'll become an agent of Mad King Thorn. These tonics were actually in the game long before the quest chain was added, which is really cool, actually, that they use these. And now we can speak to the voice of Grenth. And click something wicked comes this way. And he says, an agent of Mad King Thorn wishes to enter the Underworld alone? Very well, if you think that's wise. The Reapers have gained some degree of control over the Underworld at the moment, so now is an opportune time to travel, relatively speaking. I'm ready to travel to the Underworld. So, yes, we're actually going to do this solo. They give you some amazing skills, though. These quests are really fun. We only get 4 skills, right? Skill 1 makes us move 50% faster, which is a very fast speed boost for Guild Wars. Okay, skill 2, this one slows people down, like in AoE, 90% slower for 10 seconds. So that's really good. It will just slow any melee things that come near you. You can just use that on them and then sprint away, and they won't even bother trying to fight you because you're too fast for them. Skill 3 recharges super quick, but knocks people down for 10 seconds. And skill 4 just flat out makes everybody allied to you in the area for a short period of time. So that's like your elite skill, essentially. And using just these 4 skills, if you use them right, you're basically invincible in the Underworld, and we all know how difficult the Underworld actually is. So let me just demonstrate this. Here, these are the bladed attacks, yeah, and these hit for a lot of damage. Okay, you'll see one of them hit me. He hits me for 115 a pop, right? But you can just easily use skill 3, and look, now they're on the floor, and you can just walk around and you can dance at them and do whatever the hell. Ooh, now he's standing up, but then you can just knock him down again. It's brilliant. So basically, it's very fun, and what this does is it allows players, once they've got used to their skills, and there's only 4 skills to get used to just be able to hang out in the Underworld and learn where everything is and have a bit of fun. There's only one place that's kind of difficult, and I'll talk about that in the next quest chain. But for now, for this first quest, all we have to do, and it even gives you pings on the radar so that you know exactly where to go, we have to find King Frozenwind. If you guys have seen my Underworld series or played the Underworld, you'll know where he is. He's in the Ice Wastes. So we're just outside the Hall of Judgment, actually, which is where you end up fighting Doom at the very end of things anyway. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, look, it will give you the pings and tell you the way to go. It's just really, really cool. Skill 2, I barely even ever use, to be perfectly honest, because, I mean, like, okay, so we got a lot of smite crawlers here. You could use it on these guys, I suppose. So now look at how slow they're moving. Look, they don't even want to try and fight me. It's just really good. This place is actually kind of dangerous a little bit. This is what I'd consider the second most dangerous place, only because of the Cold Fire Knights. You want to watch out for those guys. Aside from that, you're fine. See, look, you just wander on past everything. It's brilliant. You all know how much trouble there was. Now, ArenaNet didn't just give you these cool skills. They were also nice. You remember pretty much the whole way through my Underworld series, I talked about all the dick moves that they pull on you and all the annoying things. So there you go. There's my elite skill, shall we say. And he says, the Mad King demands you let me pass with impunity. And just by saying that, you basically get a free ticket to go wherever the hell you want in the Underworld. It's so good. So here you got some Cold Fire Knights. Shit, and they've seen me. Oh dear, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. But you can just keep spamming the knockdown, you see. They're annoying because they snare you see. So that's why they're horrible. But I mean, look at how easy this is. You just use whatever the hell you want. It's just fantastic. What was I saying? I've completely forgotten what I was saying. Oh yeah, they're quite nice. So like when Reapers spawn, you know all the dick moves that I talked about ArenaNet pulling, where they spawn horrible things next to every Reaper basically. Well, that they don't do. They give you really nice spawns, so you're just fine. They get rid of anything that would be directly in your way, like you know the mountains where you've got all of the thingies, the bear moths that lay the traps. If there's any of those that are usually directly in your path, they just despawn them completely. Here you can see that King Frozen Wind's forces are fighting cold fires. You can help them out. I always like to help them out just because you get experience from the kills. Just stand here and knock down the cold fires, and they can't do anything against these guys. It's so cool. It's really, really cool. Well, usually more of them are fighting. Only one of them's fine at the moment, so it would take him ages to beat him. But yeah. Alright, so we're going to come up here. This quest is very simple. Oh shit, he started hitting me. This quest is very simple. You just come up to the Hall of Judgment and wander on through. And here you can see King Frozen Wind's forces, all the ice elementals. King Frozen Wind himself, who he saved in the Underworld. At possibly a later date, if you consider that to be sort of the order that the story goes in. You can come up and speak to him. And he says, I've lived as a nameless king for far too long. The time has come to make myself known and perhaps reveal the dark secret which plagues these lands. And the dark secret, in fact, is right behind this door, as we well know. That's where Doom is, behind there, in the Hall of Judgment. Alright, so something wicked comes this way. The emissary of Mad King Thorn arrives. It's good to see you again, despite the circumstances. Or was that another who visited my hall last year? I'm sorry, little one, but you all look similarly scrumptious. Your lord is correct. The thing with the dialogue here is they add, like, a sentence or a paragraph, as you can see here, which kind of explains why it happened last year and why it's happening again. But otherwise, most of the dialogue is exactly the same as it was in 2009, so don't be too worried that you're missing out on anything, because you're not. Okay, your lord is correct. Dark things still stir in these depths. It is doom, Candyman. Death inevitable is not so dormant as we believed. Let me tell you the tale again, in case it has not stuck in your mind. Long have the bards sung of Grenth's defeat of Doom, the former ruler of the Underworld. With the help of the rebellious Reapers, Grenth usurped Doom's throne. But the books and songs only tell part of the tale. You see, Doom was not fully destroyed. Grenth was simply not powerful enough to slay him. Instead, he forced Doom into a state of dormancy and imprisoned him within the Hall of Judgment, trapped behind massive enchanted doors and layers of divine magic. There Doom remained, slumbering, waiting. But his torpor is not so heavy that Doom does not occasionally wake. One thing, a little bit off topic, that I find quite interesting here is that Grenth wasn't actually strong enough to take out Doom, and yet Cormyr was strong enough to take out Abaddon. It makes you wonder if Cormyr really was that amazing, or whether, and a lot of people like to put this forward, that Abaddon is still there somewhere and maybe he'll come back in Guild Wars 2. Though it has, let me just point this out, it has been said by Jeff Grubb and co that they're not going back to Abaddon. That story's done, so don't worry about that, guys. Alright, so why does he continue to wake? Is a little sleepwalking really that harmful? Doom awakens fueled by dark powers, eager to reclaim his seat as the final judge and set to cull the life from those who cheat death. Every time a creature in the Underworld dies, the release of life energy adds to Doom's vigour. Too many beings are being slain in the Underworld. Doom grows both strong and restless. I fear that one day he will come to his full strength and then these doors will not hold. Where Doom walks, Candyman, no soul is safe. Go, tell your master to heed my warning. Doom remains the most serious of threats. Yeah, that bit of dialogue I was a little bit worried about, because I knew that the countdown was there and it completely threw me off when I was reading it. I was like, no, I've got to read it out in time. So yeah, that little thing, every time something dies in the Underworld, that's like ArenaNet, I think, sort of referencing the speed clearers and saying, no, you're completing the Underworld too fast. We're adding a big boss so that you can't do it anymore. But it turns out they can. I think the current record's like 20 minutes. And if you've seen my series, it took me like twice that just to kill Doom himself, let alone all 10 quests before it. It's mad. Anyway, here we go. So, here's the steward. Doom, the ender of all, this is unexpected information, but you have delivered what I asked for. I doubt Mad King Thorn will believe this matter wasn't fully dealt with last year, but Doom and his promise of death undeniable should not be ignored. If he were to seize control of the Underworld, it would be disastrous. The fundamental rules of life, death and undeath would change, a state of affairs that would be unacceptable to a spirit lord like Mad King Thorn. Thank you for your service, mortal. I will bear this grim news to my liege, so he may plot his next move. I fear for us all, and you get quite a few trick-or-treat bags for that as well, actually. So yeah, there we go. You can actually see how kind of, I hate the word, but how epic this quest could have really been in 2009 when we were all reading about this for the first time, and it really did build up quite big. And you got to admit, the fight with Doom at the end really was worth it. It was a brilliant fight, wasn't it? Right, so Mad King Thorn appreciates your recent efforts on his behalf in the Underworld. However, he finds the report the teeniest bit suspect. I would never cast doubt on the word of King Frozen Wind, but my master, the indelible Fright, uses names like Fruitcake more freely. He is certain that Doom was dealt with quite finely last year. He insists on a second opinion, or 7. The Mad King also insists on Chef Colwich's pie, but that's my problem, not yours. I wish to make use of your talents once again. While I shoulder the burden of pastry delivery, all you must do is travel to the Underworld and seek out the Reapers. Inquire of each Reaper their assessment of these dark stirrings. Be polite and diplomatic. Reapers respond well to courtesy. Report back to me when you have the information the Mad King seeks. As before, you will use a tonic to change yourself into an emissary of the Mad King. Once transformed, you may speak to the voice of Grenth, who will send you to the Underworld. Of course, my lord will generously reward those who do his bidding. May the Mad King's luck be with you. Okay, here I go again on my own, or I've just remembered that I have to be somewhere far, far away from here. And yes, I'm pretty sure that's song lyrics. So yeah, back up to the Temple of the Aegis. And we're going to go in, and yes, as you've probably twigged, this time we have to go all around the Underworld. This is the quest that kind of taught newbies, shall we say, how exactly to move around the Underworld and actually get them a bit of confidence to try and do some speed clear groups or some regular groups, as ArenaNet probably wanted. Let's use another tonic. See, it's a quite nice quest reward as well, because it gives you tonics as the reward, which is really cool. I'm so glad that they do that. Alright, so let's do this. Now, for this, just in the interest of keeping the length of the video down, since we're already at 9 minutes, I'm going to use a red rock candy. All this is going to do is make me move a little bit faster, so I don't have to keep spamming. Well, I will keep spamming skill 1 anyway, but it's just to keep the video length down. It's really... There's only one hard place, which I'm going to go to straight away, and that's the bone pits. And hopefully we won't wipe there. But otherwise, it's just going to be a hell of a lot of walking, running around the Underworld, remembering all the stuff we used to see in those videos. It's a really nice, relaxing walk around the Underworld, actually. I like it because people struggle so much here. Like, everyone struggles so much here. And it's just nice to be able to walk around and literally shout at the monsters, and then they just all flee from you in fear or just don't fight you. It's so cool. Alright, so yeah, the first thing we're going to do is go to the bone pits, which obviously, like, for instance, here in regular Underworld, there things spawn here with traps which could instantly kill you, basically. But ArenaNet basically turned around and said, no, don't worry about that. We'll remove those. There's going to be far less pop-ups as well. Nothing's going to jump out at you from the darkness. You know, like there's lots of charged darknesses and stuff here in the regular Underworld, like right here where I am. They're not going to spawn now. There are still a few pop-ups in the Chaos Plains, and they can screw you over. The thing that really hurts here is obviously we've got no method of healing ourselves at all. So it's not so much direct damage that's a problem. It's when they hex you and do like degen, and that's why I think the bone pits are so dangerous. And to an extent, if you let the very few pop-ups in the Underworld at the Chaos Plains catch you off guard, you could just have a load of migraines on you, and they'll last a long time and probably kill you. So, but you can use any consumables you want. It's not exactly a solo mission. Usually they don't let you do that here, but they're very nice about this. Like, they're really nice about this because, you know, the Survivor title where you just have to stay alive for a certain amount of time, and if you die, you've got to restart. Well, they're really nice about that here as well. If you die here, it doesn't count towards your Survivor title. They really are saying to everybody, hey, come try out the Underworld. Come try it out. There's nothing wrong. Okay, so here's the dead collectors. These guys are dangerous. Here's how to do it, right? Lots of people have trouble here. This is the most simple thing, right? They'll appear in pairs or alone. All you have to do is abuse skill 3. It recharges really fast, okay? So you want to target the one that's closest to you and aggro him by clicking the thing. You see that one there on my left managed to hex me? That parasitic bond is going to last for a really long time now. See how much damage that one guy did to me? It can be very, very worrying. See, I actually took damage there. If you don't have a red rock candy, you can just walk through without any problems. But see, look, you just spam skill 3. Make sure you use it on everyone that you come by, and you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. See, this one's come in, knock him down as well, because they can't hex you. Well, that one's going to hex me now. Did he just hex me again? Shit, he did. That's annoying. This bit here, use your skill 4, use your elite, shall we say. They'll all become allied in this area. Just keep running. Some people like to take breaks. I'm going to not take a break here. Knock him down. Make sure those ones on the left don't aggro you. Knock him down. You see? Now we're going to keep going. There's another one on his own over here. Knock him down instantly. It's all about skill 3. This is the way you do it. And then you've got 2 here. Okay, so once again, do it. Back up so that the other one can't cast on you straight away. Now that one. Watch the one behind you just in case. What? He cast it again? Are you serious? Ugh. That's annoying. Alright, but here we go. So now we're at the first Reaper, and we're going to speak to all of the Reapers. I'm going to stand out and read the dialogue. Most people just run through the quest and ignore the dialogue, but that's not what we do on my channel. Okay, so, hail, noble servant of Gren, the sentry of the bone pits. I bring greeting from Mad King Thorn, who has heard of grim rumblings from the bowels of the Underworld. I hear the same, says the Reaper, but I can't give them name. Doom's minions roam the Underworld with impunity, and in great numbers. You are most certain it is Doom. Knowing this, if you would deign to travel to the Hall of Judgment to offer King Frozenwind your counsel, Mad King Thorn would be eternally grateful. It is certain, sprite, as certain as doom brings endless night, I shall go. And there you go. So this is basically the format of this. We're not out of the woods though, because you can't speak to the Reapers to teleport around as you can in regular Underworld. So we have to walk back, and obviously we haven't killed anything. So I actually find the walk back through here harder than the walk in, just because, well, I guess if you wait around enough, you can probably get some nice positions with where everybody spawned and stuff. But like you see this here, I'm basically forced to aggro. Come on, there we go. We managed to stop him casting Parasitic Bond. Come over here again. Once again, I would just advise using your skill 4 at the same location. And try, you see that one on the far left? By the way, I'm just staring at my compass here. I know I don't usually like to do this on the Let's Play because it's not that friendly for viewing. But if you do look, you'll see that they're going to become allied again, enemies again. This guy here. So we're going to have to knock him down as soon as he becomes hostile. And try not to aggro those two on the left. Yeah, so that's fine. Just keep an eye on him. There you go. See, he tried to use Parasitic Bond, but knocked him down straight away. Okay, so now we got another 2 here. Do it on one, back up. Move forward, do it on the other one. Simple. See, and now you're through. This bit here at the end can be a little bit tricky as well. Actually, I'm doing much better here than I thought I would, because there's so many, but again, just spam skill 3. It's amazing. You just do whatever the hell you want. I feel like I don't even need to talk about it that much because it's just so simple once you've described it once. The Mad King demands you let me pass with impunity. And yes, they do. These guys, the Wailing Lords, can't do anything to you. Just knock down the banished Dream Riders and you're fine. Oh, it's so fun. I love it. I'm going to just keep going over. Of course, we've got the Chaos Planes here. We all know how dangerous this place. Well, actually, when I did my series on it, I kind of wish that I'd shown some fails on the 4 Horsemen. I get a lot of messages from people. One thing I do really regret is not putting all the builds out, but I don't have them anymore, guys, so I'm sorry. Salutations, Dower 1, Sentinel of the Chaos Planes. I bring you best regards from Mad King Thorn. He desires your counsel on grim activity that may or may not be the return of Doom. Quiet, do you hear that? It's the sound of the void calling to us. I thought him dead, but the song of Doom heralds his coming. I'm sorry, but I don't hear anything except your confirmation of Doom's rise. Will you attend a summit with King Frozenwind and your Reaper brethren? They gather now at the Hall of Judgment. That noise, both deafening and silent, it is the sound of death beyond death. I will travel to the Hall of Judgment, emissary, but I fear it may be too late. I wonder what death beyond death even means. Does it just mean people can't walk around in the Underworld anymore? Doom doesn't like people being resurrected, which kind of makes sense. Also, I love that line from the Reaper there about deafening but quiet noise. You always hear those kinds of lines from like war movies or stuff where people talk about how loud it sounds just before a fight, just before they think they're going to die or whatever, when really it's just deadly silent. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so I don't have the builds anymore, guys, so I'm very sorry about that. But this is the bit where the pop-ups are. Use your skill 4 there and you'll be fine. But if they can catch you out and put lots of mind grains on you if you're not careful. Yeah, so I just don't have it anymore. But I get a lot of you guys saying, oh, how do you do this? How do you do this? And this place, the 4 Horsemen, people do have a lot of trouble with it. But obviously when I filmed my thing, I made it look a bit effortless. It's not effortless at all. If you guys actually eventually do try it, just do watch out. There are 3 very difficult ones, but I always rank the 4 Horsemen the highest. Just because, I don't know, maybe it's because I just tried that one more. I always had it in my head that it was the hardest, so I kind of always went there first in the Underworld, which meant I probably wiped there more than everywhere else. Maybe if I tried Imprisoned Spirits more than everywhere else, then that would have been what I considered to be the hardest. As you can see here, just spamming skill 3. This bit's a bit annoying because you obviously you get slowed down in the tar. But the Terror Webs just are not dangerous at all. Coming up to where we wiped as well, obviously they're being nice with the spawns here, so there's not a million Terror Webs around the Reaper, and you don't have to guess at which ones are going to spawn it and which ones are going to kill it instantly. Ugh. Pisses me off so much the way they do that bit there. It's just so dickish. It's so dickish. And ArenaNet have proved that they can be nice. Look how nice they're being to us in the Underworld here. We just get like a nice little tour. I feel like I'm on a tour bus and I'm like your tour guide and we're just sort of casually wandering around. And this is this super dangerous area. Don't worry, it can't hurt you now because you're an agent of the Mad King Thorn.